Yeah, recording has been started.
Okay, who do recap?
I guess I could. I don't exactly remember what happened aside from Julius got to see his mom after 20 years. They had a nice little chat before we left town. We did the brewery thing. We finished that off. Granny had some strange reaction to seeing or hearing something. I can't exactly remember it was.
She had no strange reactions. What are you talking about?
Yep,
Hello,
totally.
Sarah.
Hello?
Oh, hi, Sarah. Alex got to go wander around town with my sibling, Othaniel, where they were they were having a good time, except that near the beginning of it, they did see a wanted poster for Julius that had them questioning, but that, it's fine. And that was all going down while we were taking care of the devil's thing. We eventually got the vials of blood. By the skin of our teeth, everyone got away, thank God. Nagi got real beat up real bad.
You also got dad mode in Alex.
Yep, exactly. You freaked
Alex
Alex the
becomes
hell
dad.
out. He shifted into dad mode. And then
activated your father. Go lay down.
Yeah. He made us food. Julius also made food with everybody once everybody was back. Thankfully, we all made it. The vials of blood were destroyed on the way back to...
The ones of X's blood. The others we held on to for the moment so we could figure out
Okay.
who they
I couldn't
belonged
exactly
to.
remember if they got destroyed or not. I couldn't remember.
Exalius
Yeah, we
got
wanted
thrown
to
down
get the
a
names
storm
off
drain.
them.
Okay,
Exalius got thrown down a storm drain.
Mm-hmm, yep. And then after all that was taken care of, that was before the Julius meet his mom situation. But after that happened, I think that was when he asked Irene to send a message to his mom to see if he could, I think?
Irene had said that
it was the day
meeting
before.
planned before we did
Yeah.
the tavern thing.
Yes,
but
exactly.
then you asked Ix to come with you to
Yeah.
go to
Yep.
the meeting.
Yep, he asked Ixalia to come with him, and they went and did that while everybody was leaving town.
Amy, I roleplayed as Exalius standing awkwardly 20 feet to the left. Eyes down, not listening.
And letting them have their moment.
Yeah.
Except they didn't really get to have a moment because they were being watched by guards. So the closest thing Julius got to do... Well, hold on. The closest thing Julius got to do, well, you probably would have noticed, Ixalia, is... Maybe. He got to touch his mom's hand, and that's about it. They exchanged some talk, but they had to do it in a roundabout way of not using me or I or anything. It was just, it was so fucking sad, dude.
It was.
That's why you guys went in jail for a month.
Yeah, you should listen to the last 30 minutes of the last session, Amy.
I'm stamped the episode with.
But after that, it was just Julius. Oh, I'm sorry. But at the end of that, it was Julius and Ixalia leaving town with to go meet up with the rest of them. And that was, I think that's a good enough recap. I don't know if there was anything else.
That's
that was all.
Okay. Woo! I'm gonna add inspiration because I haven't had that in forever.
The majority of the party, were all standing just on the other side of the crest of a hill on the eastern road out of Horatori as the sun set, and eventually your two last companions joined you on the side of the road. I think the original plan was to walk at least another 2 hours before settling down.
Yeah.
The night
right.
is
Parker, you were gonna ask about the consensus about horse.
Yeah.
What?
We took our horses and wagon, right?
That's what Parker's gonna ask consensus about.
Yeah. Did you?
I hope
I mean,
so.
that's our
We have a
horse and
horse.
also our wagon, right? We should have done that.
Yeah,
I gave the excuse that Nagi would have thought about it earlier, but during the whole thing, she would have forgotten about it.
I think we
No,
wouldn't have
Julius-
just left our horse.
I mean, Julius would want the horse because otherwise people would be walking.
Right. I will give you the horse.
Thank you.
Maybe you could have saved the horse where Julius could have taken that, and the rest could have taken the wagon.
We need the wagon. We need the horse for the wagon.
No,
Yeah.
there is two. There's more horses than just the one. There was 2 horses.
Oh, there were 2 horses.
Wait,
Yeah,
did
there
we
was
name
one to
them?
carry the wagon, and I remember Julius specifically riding on the horse when we came into Horitari.
Have we named them yet?
I
No.
don't
You have
know.
not.
Okay.
We're not. I'm afraid to name them.
If we give them names,
think-
they'll die.
I think
No.
Nagi would have seen one of the horses and said, "Potato leaf," and then hugged it.
Okay. Then that's one horse name. I think we should name the other one Meatroot.
Meatroot. Potato leaf and meatroot.
God. Eat your meatroot.
No,
Right.
no.
Potato leaf and meatroot. You have your fucking wagon.
God bless you.
Ophaniel, y'all were like, here are horses, and Ophaniel was like, that's a fucking horse, dude. Not like out loud, but like that was the expression on their face.
Have they ever seen a horse before?
You get the vibe now.
God fucking bless.
Not even like through windows or anything.
They lived in a cave.
But they
Yeah.
They were forced to live in a cave.
before.
Did they have like the Dark Ages understanding of animals, where people describe it to
No,
them?
they had like heard of horses. They'd like seen images of horses. They had been topside, but never really outside of the temple, and no one brings like horses onto temple grounds because what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
understand where they're coming from, because like going to see places in person are way different. Places or things in person is way different than actually seeing them in pictures.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nagi will
as,
say. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
as you are all standing there, Ophaniel is like keeps like shooting like glances at horses, like kind of in that like, oh my god, that's a horse.
Yeah, I think Nagi would say, would you like to, maybe pet them? They're really nice, and this is Potato Leaf, and she's really sweet.
Alex, Ophaniel looks at you. Almost as if like wanting permission.
Are you comfortable touching the horse?
Sorry.
Potato Leaf is very nice, I promise.
They approach the horse.
The horse approach.
Approach.
A
Can I
great
give the
Horitari
help?
secret.
Can I give the help action by, like, calming Potato Leaf?
Sure, roll an animal handling check.
Yes.
Oh no.
I have high wisdom.
Yeah, she's good with animals.
You have high wisdom?
She's a monk.
Monk!
I'm a monk. It's just that she has low
Sorry.
intelligence. She just has low intelligence.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Bless
her
her.
intelligence is an 8. Animal handling is 17 plus 4 for number.
21.
Yeah, between you, like, kind of like. Ophaniel does kind of accidentally do the thing where you walk, like, head onto the horse and you're not supposed to fucking do that.
Yeah.
Mm.
But you kind of very gently sort of pull them to the side and like show them how to like pet like the mane and like the neck and the flank, and they're just like I just did like the fucking like that.
God.
So would you say they're pogging IRL?
No.
I think you should say that. I think pogging is the best description of what they're doing right now.
We're gonna teach
No,
Daniel what
it is-
fog
TK
is.
Granny already has so few hit points.
It's more the genuine, like,
Aw.
honest to God awe of that's a horse.
Yes. Oh, I was gonna say a horse girl was born today, but that's not right.
A horse child.
Yes, a horse
There.
child.
There, see? Isn't that nice?
They nod, and are just like pet horse.
Horse.
They'll sit there and walk alongside them and pet horse.
And Julius and Ixalia eventually, crest the hill. Oh, Nathaniel does not have the hit points to start saying that word in canon.
Okay, wait. I think it was. Wait, what was the banned word? Was it poggers or pogchamp?
PogChamp was the
PogChamp.
official banned word for the 5
That's
hit
right.
point penalty.
That's right, because we had to add a character conversation where we kept saying it. That's right.
Because Nagi taught Granny how to say poggers, and now she can't say it anymore.
She can say poggers, just not pogchamp.
She can't say PogChamp, right?
Yeah.
Flew too close to the sun.
So
This is too sweet of a moment to teach them poggers.
Right
Uh,
now.
Ixalia and Julius, you crest the hill, and your party is standing there, horse and wagon, things loaded up and ready to go. You can all travel for about 2 hours under the fact the vast majority of you do have dark vision, it helps, but also by the light of 3 separate moons, it's relatively easy to see on an open road land. Ixalia, yes, you can roll a perception check.
Sorry, I'm a little shocked about 3 moons. Hello?
I know, we knew about 3 moons. We didn't know about 3 moons.
Yeah, y'all did know about the 3 moons!
I forgot about 3 moons.
God, that always wears me out about the tides.
There's another moon.
Another smaller moon.
I'm gonna add moons. I think the secret the gods don't want us to know is the 4th moon.
You mean where all the dinosaurs are hidden?
The moons can
Exactly.
stay, the gods need to go, though.
Yes.
I have a thing that tells me what phase all the moons are in right now, but I know they're at least visible.
That's so cool. What the
sounds
hell?
nerdy.
Each does affect different wares in different ways.
Yes. Each vague type of wear is associated with one of the 3 moons.
And
That's so
we know
fucking
it's-
cool!
Wait, I can't say
Yeah,
that.
that's very helpful. However, the tides, though, Parker, the tides.
Only the one that is closest enough is the one that affects the tides. The other 2 kind of
Okay.
get overruled.
Moon person real?
Moon
Personification.
dominance.
Is the moon a real person?
Hold on. I am now trying to find. Oh no, it's in my fucking email. I emailed it to myself one time. It's not important. I'll figure out what phase the moons are in later. But on an open road such as this, particularly outside of the clearing of trees, even those of you without dark vision or otherwise supplemental, like glasses, like goggles of the night, for example, are able to at least see a little. And 2 hours is a little bit too close to the city to find an established campsite along the road. However, I'm just gonna let y'all have that you are able to at least find a small clearing off to the side.
Okay.
That works.
God bless.
as you all set up camp and start moving, you all have traveled together enough that generally y'all kind of have a routine at this point.
Yeah.
Who kind of does what. Um, as far as you can tell, Exolia, no. You do see, like, for example, some wildlife. You catch the attention of, like, an owl at one point.
Wildlife bottom test.
But no one seems to be following you. And again, you are too close to the city to be anywhere near any of the campsites, so there aren't. The only people you saw were the stragglers desperately trying to make it into town after sunset. But that was a while ago. It is just you in the nighttime. And as your routine starts to get moving, y'all notice kind of Ophaniel kind of awkwardly just kind of like unsure of what to do with themselves. Particularly because you do all kind of just have your system.
I think Nagi would set out a place for them to sit and say, here, take a seat. You know, you don't have to stand there while we do this.
I
We can show you how to do some of the camp setting up if you'd like.
Yeah, and Exalia is able to like kind of point out some of the things that are happening. Part of their pack, you come to realize something that at least probably Naoki had thought of. They don't necessarily have their own tent, but they do have a bedroll. And
Okay.
kind of the basics of that sort of thing. They seem to interact with this in that very like, I have read about this, I have been told about this,
God.
I have never
Bless
done
them.
this.
Oh,
I love them.
Granny pops up the dome like normal.
I want to say 9.5 minutes into the 10-minute ritual for setting up the dome, Granny very much turns to Ophaniel and says, "Do you want to see a magic trick, dearie?"
Sorry. Yeah? I guess.
All right.
Sorry.
Here we go. You don't have to apologize. I just want to show you something cool. And then she claps her hands together and the dome springs up around them.
Again, there's that like, oh, that's cool. The dome, from the outside, you are used to coloring the dome to at least be somewhat like discreet. But from the inside and as close as it is, as like you are all kind of having to be inside the side of it, you can see where the light little green like flecks and swirls of magic kind of form the structure of the dome. And for a little bit, Ophaniel seems to just kind of get lost in watching like it swirl and move and sparkle.
Good. Irene.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Irene just very much does the, you can pass in and out at will, but nothing can see in and nothing can come in unless I say that it can.
And Irene can't leave it or it goes down.
Oh yes, but that's not important for them to worry about.
I wanted to let them know.
They nod in that like, I have heard you, but I am neurodivergent and focusing on something else.
God bless.
Bless them.
God bless. I love them.
About what time did we start setting up for camp?
About 3 hours after sundown. So, particularly in summertime, you're probably looking at like, it's probably
Late.
midnight-ish.
Yeah. Then Nagi would have just gathered firewood and started the fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Julius is very much... He doesn't quite look at it right now. He's kind of like looking off in the distance a little bit.
Yeah. And that is the way that first evening goes.
I'm assuming we took watches, right?
Yeah, but y'all are at the point of, like, y'all have a dome and y'all are high enough level that, like...
Yes, but crucially, watches provide possibility for one-on-one RP when necessary.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Julius does want to talk with Alex, though, just for, like, a short thing. He's still a little out of it, but he's still got something on his mind, so...
Yeah, y'all still level 6. Yeah, you two, Alex and Julius can absolutely take a watch.
He'll, like, poke Alex's side a little bit and just be like, I have a moment for your time.
Yeah, of course.
And he'll kind of, like, I don't know if you were inside the dome or not, but he's gonna, like, wave you off a little bit away from everybody, a little bit. Just, like, enough to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, wait, hold on. Hold
Huh?
on.
What?
I finally got the calendar up and running.
Calendar?
As you all start to, just before the dome comes up, actually, I want to retcon this in for a second. There's a moment where at first you see just kind of a small spark of a light up in the sky, and then another, and they start kind of streaming down past where you can see. Irene, you are well enough read and old enough to understand that this is a meteor shower.
Yes!
Yo!
They are, particularly astrological events like this are really not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
They happen a lot.
It's gotta be in the right part of the world, right?
Yeah. It is still gorgeous. And Othaniel is sitting there on the ground, just watching it, like eyes wide. And it lasts for about the hour that you are setting up.
I think,
and in fact, kind of delays your setup as some of you
yeah.
kind of get entranced by the way it seems like the sky is not melting, but the way that the way that these lights sort of streak across and reflect over where you are sitting.
I think Nagi would come up beside them and say, you know, you can make wishes upon shooting stars, but don't tell anyone, okay? Otherwise they won't come true.
They look at you for just a second, kind of like they don't know what to say, and then they are sort of looking back up at the sky again. By the time you all settle to sleep, it has relatively stopped. And a couple of hours later, Julius and Alex can have their conversation.
Yeah, he's pulled you over to the side.
What's up?
Well, he kind of like glances a little bit over at the bubble and then back. I just wanted to make sure what was going on is alright. Specifically, I know you were upset before, and I wouldn't blame you if you were now as well.
About...
The discussion that was had about the brewery.
Oh. Yeah. mean, I'm letting it go.
Just kind of like crosses his arms a little bit. I don't want you just to let things go if they bother you. That won't work for communication here, I don't think. I'd rather we not step on your toes or anyone else's.
I mean, Aster's a kid. Kids are gonna step on toes.
Yeah, well, if we can keep that from happening sometimes, that would be good. Or at least make them aware that they can step other places.
I was already a little too aggressive about that, so I'm just gonna let it go.
He gives you like a... He's not judging you with his stare. He's just trying to get a judge of like... He's just trying to make sure that it's not something that's going to bother you more as long as it sits, I guess. Eat at you.
Alex just kind of shrugs at him.
He takes the shrug and he just sighs, and he is also letting that go. And he's going to kind of like reach up and like give your shoulder a little bit of a squeeze.
Alex returns the gesture very awkwardly.
That draws a little bit of like one of those wobbly smiles out of Julius. But he ends up like the smile fades very, very quickly. And there's that distracted look on his face again. And he retracts his hand.
Anything else you're thinking about?
Yeah.
That you want to talk about, I guess, is the caveat.
You've lived longer than me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
don't... Never mind, go ahead.
I was just going to say... And he kind of like coughs a little bit into his hand. Like it's kind of hard for him to talk for a second. I spent 20 years not seeing my mom. And the time I do finally get to see her in person, I don't even get to hug her.
Alex gives him a much less awkward squeeze on the shoulder.
His jaw is clenched and he's very much fighting back emotion.
You got to see her.
I did.
You can't let yourself get caught up on, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that, because then you're gonna miss the time you actually had, you know? So I think just don't worry about not hugging. Worry about what actually happened.
He kind of like he was looking at you while you were talking, and then after you finish, he looks off in the middle distance again, and then just for a moment he just tilts his head to the side and bonks your shoulder with his head and lets out the probably hardest sigh you heard from him in a while. And he lets himself relax. And then he'll give your shoulder another less of a squeeze and more of like a pat. Okay. Sure. Yeah. It's fine. Thanks.
Yeah. No problem.
That meteor shower was pretty though. like
Yeah.
the world's sending us off. I hope that's at least a good omen.
Yeah, I think, I think it is.
You get a much more, like, genuine smile from him that time. Less shit.
Nice.
And I think that's probably where he would leave it off, at least. Go back to our watches.
Yeah, Alex does. I can't remember whether or not Alex asked Othaniel if he could talk to Julius about the poster.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Okay, so. Alright, that's it.
Thumbs up.
Alex doesn't have anything more to add.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest of the night passes, and because you did get to bed so late, you end up rising a little bit later than normal. And the sun is already shining by the time camp is up and moving. There it seems peaceful. As you are a little bit later, not too long, about 10 minutes after stuff starts moving, you do start to see people coming in on the road, heading towards the city mostly. The first party that passes seems to be a couple of a group of about 3, maybe 4 families. You can see kind of the parental figures, like there's the dad figures, like kind of off to the side talking, and like a bunch of kids kind of getting more underfoot than they probably should, but also like, fuck it. They're so close to the city, who cares, right?
They're excited for the festival.
Yeah, exactly. As they pass, it is very clearly like some of the people coming in for the festival, and a couple more people of that sort of groups of that sort. There's one merchant group. There's another traveling group of families. Have already passed you on the road by the time you are ready to go. There is a moment just after breakfast where Alex Othaniel kind of taps you on the side and is like, kind of shifting a little awkwardly on their feet, and they tell you they need to run to the bath. They need to use the bathroom really quickly.
Okay.
And they step off into sort of the underbrush. And as breakfast is finishing up and as things are packed up, you realize it's probably been about 20 minutes since you've seen them.
Alex would have been paying more fucking attention than that.
All right.
Alex would have noticed within at least 5-10 max.
All right, 10 minutes.
Yeah,
you realize they are not back.
And Nagi would have, after 5 minutes, she would start dancing and say, should I go and try and check on them, or should we go find them? I don't like this.
Alex is already going as soon as he's noticed.
Yeah.
Nagi is also going. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Not everyone should go.
Yeah.
Alex will, or Julius will stay with the thing,
probably-
but he is most
it's
definitely
probably-
worried.
It's probably fine.
They probably got distracted
Parker.
because neurodivergency.
It better be fine, Parker.
Alex, you know the direction that they went. and it does not take you very long to find them. Probably 50 seconds away from camp, clearly in the middle of a panic attack.
Uh-oh. Hey. Alex is going to just kind of crouch down, be smaller.
They have their head up against a tree trunk, clearly hyperventilating.
Alex is going to hold out a hand in the direction of their hands, and like as an offering.
As your hand kind of moves into their vision range, they kind of startle a little bit, and then
Hey, it's okay, just me.
oh, sorry. I should.
Oh,
sorry,
no, you're good.
Just give me a second.
Hey, no, take your time. Hey, you're not in trouble, so don't worry. Do you want to grab my hand? You want to? Will that help?
They kind of bury their face in their hands, like they don't want you to see them.
Alex, backs off slightly.
Nagi, where you have been going to search for a little bit, like
Oh, I
just
went
to
with
the left.
Alex.
Yeah,
I went
Alex,
with Alex.
Nagi, you are a couple of steps back.
Well, what would have happened is, as soon as she found, I was typing out because I didn't want to interrupt.
Sorry.
She would have found them. She would have seen them. Ran back to the group and said, "It's okay, we found them. They'll be back soon." Recognizing that they don't want people.
Don't leave Alex on his own. He doesn't know how to do this.
Oh, no.
Sorry. She thought you did because your dad.
He is dad as of a week ago.
Congrats, you are dad now.
Signed Dad by Group.
It takes them like a couple more minutes, like until they can like start like almost like gulping down air. And then sorry, I'm fine. This happens.
No, you're good.
I'm fine. I'm
no
fine.
No apologies needed. Don't worry. If you're not good, we can take a couple more minutes, or however many more minutes that you need. We're in no rush, so don't worry.
You just kind of sit there with them for a minute, and it they are once more practiced at calming themselves down as you think they should be, but it is at once also kind of a relief to you.
Yeah. I'll be concerned about that later.
And when they finally kind of pull their face out of their hands, they kind of wipe at their face with their sleeve, and I thought, 5 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Good. Don't worry. No need to apologize. Don't worry. I mean, you can still apologize if you want, but you don't have to.
And they kind of take another breath, and they're like, I'm okay. I'm composed. I'm okay. And their hands come up, and they start kind of... their hair had been halfway done up, and they pull it kind of out of the bun it had been in, and are sort of playing and running with their hands along the very end of it. And they look up at you. I'm all right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to go back, or do you still need a sec?
They nod.
You can
at
even
you.
just want a sec if you want.
They nod. I'm fine. I can. Sorry.
No worries.
I can keep this under control. I'm fine.
Alex doesn't know how to respond to that.
Um,
um, Alex holds out his hand.
they look at it for a second, and there's a small calculation in their mind, and then they do kind of take it eventually.
All right.
Don't tell the others.
I won't.
They nod.
Alex
they
nods back.
Your insight is high enough. They're not okay, but they're not panicking anymore.
Yeah, Alex is not gonna push it. Pushing it is not going to do anyone involved any favors. So,
And you walk them back to camp. Most everyone can tell between Nagi and the fact that their face is still a little bit splotchy, like but they are doing that thing that you've all started to pick up on, where they are keeping themselves their back up, their back straight, their head up, kind of their I'm composed kind of vibe.
Gotcha.
Snowball does trot up. Bye, PK.
Bye.
Snowball does trot up, and Othaniel does end up scooping Othaniel into their arms.
Yes, the scoop.
Asta is gonna probably just offer the water skin. And there's no judgment or question, just, hey, rehydrate a little bit before we get moving.
There is the slightest, like, oh, fuck, look in their eyes, but they do take the water.
Yeah. He is very deliberately trying to project, I am not prying.
Foggy is just brushing the horse's manes when they get back.
Y'all, they were in a cave for 17 years.
Yeah. And now they are in the woods.
Everywhere. That is a lot of things. They saw a meteor shower yesterday.
Yeah. They were also autistic.
Yeah, changes a lot. Poor D.
They are doing their best.
Yeah.
They're going through some shit, but you know.
Their best is very good, thank you.
Exactly.
Now, important question. What is like the arrangement here?
Julius wants to sit on the horse. That's what he did last time.
I think Nagi would be sitting up front. She'd be keeping an eye out because she heard talk of, bandits preying on travelers during this time of year.
Yeah.
So, and even though this is a well-traveled road between bandits and potentially creatures who might, get hungry, she wants to keep an eye out.
And there's also the other problem of, it's very likely Wash is going to be rushing back. So
not on this road, though, right?
That was the way the messenger went, I think, right? Or was it the opposite road?
The messenger did go down this way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we might end up seeing them go by.
So everyone else kind of piles into the cart, I presume?
Will function as supplementary lookout, or either Asta will sort of have the reins for the horses for the wagon, and Nagi's gonna be keeping an eye out, or Asta will keep an additional eye out while Nagi is.
Well, somebody does need to be driving the cart.
I was happy to.
In which case, Nagi, make me a perception check.
Yeah, sure.
You do all, for the first time, also do get to see the about 45-minute seemingly known routine that is Othaniel caring for their hair in the morning.
Oh.
Um, hey,
13 plus 7 for 20.
no. What was that, Jamie?
Oh, sorry. 13 plus 7 for 20.
20. All right. Again, you're kind of the odd ones out on the road for being the ones going away from the city. It
Yeah.
seems. Ixal, you can also roll a perception check. Yeah, you are very much kind of like, the road isn't congested, but you are definitely not alone. No one is paying you much mind, but there are a lot of people heading towards the city. Nin, Othaniel is listening to you as they are like section by section combing out their hair. There is a lot of hair. It is a very long process.
I wonder if Mushroom Lady was gonna be at the festival.
She was.
Oh.
No!
Oh, guys, our BDEG was gonna be there.
We missed her. Oh well.
Well,
We left
we'll
with our
find her
kid. That's
again.
fine.
Big bad mushroom girl. But again, it seems like you've moved past the point where a lot of like the merchant entrance is happening, and more like this is like the tourists showing up.
Yeah.
A lot of people on foot. Less so carts and wagons, but it's not, wildly weird to see a particularly a bigger group piled into one big wagon. There is a moment where you see one that's like, it's this poor little fucking donkey pulling, like, a couple of donkeys pulling like this cart that is relatively small but very tall. And it is being driven by a couple of gnomes.
Oh my god.
And you have no idea how many of them are being packed inside that like very tall wagon.
An actual clown car.
An actual clown car of gnomes.
I imagine they're all just Jenga'd in there.
Oh god.
I was kind of thinking stacked.
Oh no, that'd be uncomfortable.
You pass lunch. It's a warm day. Again, it is the start of summer, so it is warm. It is it actually feels kind of nice to just kind of be out in the sun. Here on the road there is a very slight breeze, particularly that follows the road when it is not being broken up by the trees. And so it's just kind of a vibe, honestly. You all make it to what is probably the about the normal like sort of campsite on the road. A little bit earlier than like evening. Like the vibe of like this is like, so this is a place where a lot of people stop when they are traveling on the road to get to or from Horitari. But because you had a 2-hour head start, you do make this camp by about dinner time. So a little bit earlier than most people show up. So it is mostly just you if you all want to stop here.
Yeah. I think Nagi would volunteer to go not only look for firewood, but things to spruce up our, we'll spread our rations out a bit more because we do have to share with Nathaniel. Yeah, so things to help stretch those a bit.
And we'll go with as well, even though she's not as good about finding things. She's good at finding like mushrooms and weird plants and stuff that could help.
Make either both of you make a survival check or Nagi an advantage.
I'll give Nagi advantage.
Okay, thank you. Here's 20. Okay, thank you for advantage. The first one sucked. Okay, first one was a 4. However, well, 4 plus 4 for 8, which is not good. Second one is a 16 plus 4 for 20.
Ixalia, make me a perception. So with that 20, it is mostly foraging. It seems like a lot of the local wildlife do kind of know not to hang around this part, this little clearing.
Yeah. I mean, she's a monk. She mostly eats like things like fish and like for vegetables and things anyway. So.
Lots of mushrooms, lots of veggies. You do manage to find a bird nest with a couple of eggs in it. If you wanted to steal those.
Oh, let me roll a check because she thinks the mommy bird might be sad.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Would this
I
be a
love
wisdom
her.
check? I think it might be a wisdom check. If it's
Up
low,
to you.
yeah. It's low, so she's gonna take the eggs. God. Oh, now I'm sad. Yeah, she'll take the eggs and yeah.
Granny has not yet put up the dome because it seems like y'all are going to chill here until nightfall. She is kind of sort of off to the side, a little quiet. I think Ophaniel would have expressed interest in possibly learning how to build a fire.
Yep.
And as you all sort of get like whoever's helping, I shows them how to set up firewood properly.
Yeah.
As you all go to like, all right,
I think at first Nagi does try and teach them how to start a fire, but her version of starting a fire is very different from everyone else's version of starting a fire.
Yeah, so I think Asta might possibly end up.
She'll just be like, okay, and then you channel your ki, and yeah, and she shoots fire at the thing, and then there's a fire.
They look at look at the fire, and they go, I mean, I do have like a fire spell, but it's a lot bigger than that.
Oh yeah, that won't help. Anyone here got a Tinder?
Yeah, I
Not the
can.
app.
I can. Don't worry.
She'll extinguish the fire and let Asher have a go.
As this is happening, Ixalia, with your perception, again, you're starting to move into the point where people are actually starting to kind of settle down and be ready to spend the night here in this little camp area. But then something kind of catches the attention, like the edge of your attention, and you realize it is the sound. It's hoofbeats, but whereas most everyone's been kind of chilling, as things have moved past you or have stopped or whatever, this is a hard gallop. And in fact, there is 2 sets of horsefoot beats on this hard gallop. And Ixalia, you bring attention up, and you all look up and down the road just as around the corner 2 figures on horseback. Hard gallop.
When X raises it, Astra's kind of going to look at Nathaniel and just, hey, can you bring up the disguise for a second? Can you focus on the hat and...
Okay. They will do as asked.
Here.
And the two figures on horseback thundering down the road. One of them is on what looks like a very lithe sort of like riding horse. Very lightly armored, very light sort of like cloak. Keeping up with next to them somebody on a very large, very muscular warhorse. Almost like kind of a dappled gray. That is just fucking booking it. On the warhorse's back is a muscular man in what looks like, in the couple of minutes you get to look at him, very well kept plate armor. Underneath a sort of long blue and gold robe, not a robe, a cloak that is gathered around his shoulders and down. He is light-skinned, with sort of dusky brown hair. Nagi, actually, you don't recognize him, but he does look as though possibly, if he's not from the other continent, he is like descended, like
Yeah.
He might be just kind of like descendant from immigrants or something. But it is noticeably different from the majority of people you have seen. Dusky brown hair, sort of a goatee that's sort of salt and peppered. He seems entirely set on the road in front of him, and the people on the road around you sort of almost have to kind of like scramble to get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And as they pass the campsite, both of the people's eyes kind of glance over, not really like looking or paying much attention. But
Julius fucking knows who this guy is, doesn't he?
Julius knows exactly who that man is. But it is just a heartbeat before they are heading further down the road at that same hard gallop. You think possibly at that speed they are going to hit town somewhat about 1 or 2 in the morning.
And nearly kill their horses doing it. Okay. And that is why I asked Othaniel to bring up the disguise.
Yes, obviously.
Yeah. Othaniel, who is sitting on the other side of the campfire, is looking kind of wide-eyed and follows down the road. And then y'all don't even have to know what they're thinking.
Yeah.
They look around at all of you, and they look at Julius in specific.
He does not. Julius is trying, now that he has Othaniel's attention, he's trying to calm himself, but man looks like there is a white hot anger in his face that he doesn't usually have.
Othaniel seems to notice this, and instantly their expression is schooled, and they kind of pull in on themselves a little bit.
That probably disrupts the boiling rage in Julius, and he looks a little, not guilty necessarily, but apologetic.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll, after maybe a minute or so after they've been gone, he'll pull the hood back down and sigh.
Othaniel takes that cue to, that like they can drop the disguise if they want.
Yeah.
And he'll go over to Nathaniel at the very least, and just not mad at you, I promise.
They shrug. I figured. Sorry. I figured.
Julius will nod. But I don't want to scare you, so... My anger's not directed at you.
But at my dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ixalia, you're like, is that who we think it was? And Othaniel says, but you're angry at my dad? And it's like, yep.
Julius, like, turns to look at the group and gives everybody, like, a... Well, now you've seen the man himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of figured that was him. Everyone here except for you guys kind of like, looks a certain, has a certain look. And yeah, if she's trying to say everyone here looks Asian, but Asia doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Except for you guys who for some reason don't look Asian and Walsh.
I mean, Julius has got Asian features, so...
Yeah.
Well, she mostly means the humans,
yeah,
because
yeah.
human-looking people.
Yeah.
Walsh, more to give a meta context, Walsh has a very Slavic look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He also has... Doesn't he have green eyes, I think, right?
Yes. Very steely green eyes.
But I don't think we would have been able to see, based on how fast he was moving and the fact that he's probably got a helmet.
Yeah. He was not wearing his helmet, at the moment.
Fair. But we only saw, like, a glimpse. We did, from a distance.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah, this man was fucking booking it.
Yeah, on a big fucking horse moving God knows how fast.
Almost like he's received news that his child has been kidnapped.
Lol, you just saw your kid and didn't know, and the kidnappers. I'm flipping him off from virtually.
Holding up a sign that says, "We got your kid," as he passes by.
Lol, get wrecked, noob.
The loser doesn't even know we have his kid.
Loser.
The campsite around you, there's kind of a little bit of like an upflurry of like, what the fuck was that guy's problem? Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Julius then remembers that there's people around and he's gonna pull his hood back up because damn, these people are gonna go maybe to the festival and possibly see his face, so he's gonna hide himself again.
But Othaniel is quiet for the rest of the evening unless anyone talks to them directly.
Well, you would just, talk to them about things that are of less consequence, just interests,
Aren't their dad?
yeah, things that aren't their dad's. They like if they could see what kind of animals, what have they heard about certain animals, and she would tell stories about the creatures she's seen with her parents along the road, and yeah, and also she would ask if anyone knows how to cook because she gathered ingredients, but she does not know how to cook.
Aster knows road cooking. Alex knows road cooking.
Julius knows
And-
enough, I think.
And I assume Granny knows how to cook, right?
Granny kind of knows how to cook. Ninny, you know how to cook, but not these ingredients.
Yeah, she would just
You
set
in the
the-
Feywild.
She would just offer up the ingredients and let you guys go to town with them.
I think all Lance just really got is, Othaniel, are you up for helping with ingredient preparation? Or would you prefer not to?
I can help.
Okay.
I think Othaniel also after last night, having realized that there is a watch rotation, does ask to be added to it.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Do you want to actually
Is
pick
there
out the
anyone in
wolf?
particular you want to partner with?
I'm gonna roll something. Nope, that's a 4.
Oh.
You see them, they kind of go, whatever works. But there is a moment where their eyes both move to both Alex and Julius separately.
It'd be good for you to know the stuff of the road. We can teach you some things. And you
Hey,
can help
Julius,
keep us safe.
why don't you teach them tonight?
Sure. Plus, it's nice to have some quiet time.
They will nod. I don't know if anyone else has any watch conversation requests.
I don't think so. I think
There is not a meteor shower tonight, no. It seems like the one in this, like, it must have passed for the night. I also need to retcon a little bit earlier. The moons are not relatively fully out. You can actually only see 2 of them tonight, both of which are very crescent moons, but in opposite directions.
So like parentheses around the other moon.
That's cool.
Moon parentheses.
I think Julius, you and Nathaniel are probably on second watch.
Mm-hmm.
I think as well as you all started to get particularly set up camp, and as Nathaniel kind of moved their stuff around, they do have a set of armor with them, namely plate armor, which looks of a very similar style and make.
Mm-hmm.
To Walsh's.
Makes
doesn't
sense.
surprise me.
Also a question. That the way Walsh was dressed or whatever, that was the way I saw it in that weird sort of prophetic thing. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Armor, cloak.
Julius had no way of knowing that was what the way the armor is, so now he's just confirmed with himself, like, yes, that was not just my mind playing tricks on me. That really did happen. Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least he knows it wasn't lying to him. But yeah, he would definitely kind of chat a little bit with Nathaniel during watch, I guess. He's not exactly sure what to say, but he'll at least give little tips about, like, maybe make sure you're listening for this sort of sound. You can hear this sometimes. Just keep an eye out for things.
They nod and they listen, and it seems like they're trying to absorb. They're like trying so hard to absorb the information and do a good job.
Mm-hmm. Julius is happy with that, at least. He seems in a way a little bit proud, I guess.
Sort of towards at some point they do at one point speak up. And do people usually like have conversations, or is it mostly a silent thing?
I mean, that depends. If you'd like to talk, you can. It can be distracting for some people, but as long as you're paying a little bit of attention while you're speaking, it's fine. And plus, if we're in pairs like this, usually we can make up for each other's lacks, I suppose.
They nod.
Is there
And then they
something?
kind of go quiet.
Is there something you wanted to talk about?
They don't seem to know where to look right now.
Mm-hmm. Julius will wait.
Who is meowing?
It's my boy. I should probably let him in. Hold on.
Oh, he sounds so sad.
It's Lance.
I need to figure out how Daniel's gonna start this.
I'll listen. I'm gonna get my boy in here. You think if you'd like.
I do need to think, yeah.
Here, boy. Yes. I'm ready. Oh, he's tearing up. Stop tearing that up. Go on. Hold on. Pat your butt. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Very fuzzy.
They kind of don't know where to look, and eventually what they say is, if I ask you a question, will you be honest with me?
Julius, he constantly has that sort of face of like, I guess people would say he looks a little arrogant sometimes. But he most definitely turns serious at that, and he nods. I'll give you my word.
What is it that you do, like, for a living?
That seems to confuse Julius for a second. Like, what do I do for a living? I don't have a profession. And then he realizes what he's been asked. Sorry, my boy's trying to eat a nail file. Stop! And he stops to think about it for a moment. Well, I'm a member of... How would I call that? A syndicate? Crime organization? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. Have you ever... Oh, I doubt that you... I'm part of an organization called the Gilded Cage. I'm one of 6 founding members. We are technically, in the eyes of the law, a criminal organization.
Technically?
Yes, mostly because a lot of our work tends to break the law, but it's not exactly that harmful. Not all of it is. It's more of a big group of family or flock of birds than anything else. They were who I... After I got out of that prison, me and the other 5 people I was with, we made the Gilded Cage. It was mainly to protect ourselves, but we wanted someplace that would be stable for us. And considering that we'd been housed in a place that was meant to condemn us, I suppose. To house us for however long they wanted to keep us for. The only thing we could turn to was means of crime? God, that sounds so lame. We couldn't operate in the way that a normal person could get a job for coppers a day. If we did that, we would have been found again. We had to do something to protect ourselves. And that was to fly under the radar a little bit. Create a place and a loyal gathering of people that wouldn't turn their tail on us.
So it was to keep you safe.
Tried to. Didn't always work, though. And he just rubs at his chest a little bit.
When Alex and I were getting dinner the other day, I saw a poster with your face on it.
He gives one of those wavering smiles and nods. The Gilded Cage did, I won't say that I haven't broken any laws. Broken quite a few. Is there something that concerns you more, or do you just want an explanation?
It said you'd killed somebody?
The corner of his mouth twitches a little bit at that, and he looks at his hands. And he thinks for a moment.
Nathaniel is not looking at you. Like,
Yeah. Julius is just trying to think for a second about how he's going to answer this. And he kind of like taps his fingers together a little bit and like trying to get the thoughts to come a little bit. And I have to look at my notes real quick to remember what age it was. Hold on. Because I think I know what it is, but I don't want to say the wrong thing. Hold on.
take your time.
Here we go. Let me see. Oh, I'm not the wrong one. Where is it? Here we go. Or do I not? Was it 16? I can't remember.
I think it was 16.
I think it was 16 because I can't find it in my notes right now. That's fine. But he gives a slight hum in the back of his throat and he says, I was about 16 when it happened. Me and Shinohara, my sister, we were cornered. Was it 2 or was it 3? I can't exactly. We got cornered either way, and if we wouldn't have fought back, we would have died.
Your sister, like a friend sister, or is there another sister?
No. As far as I know, Inoue hasn't had any more kids aside from us. More like chosen family. Yeah. But if I wouldn't have done anything and she wouldn't have done anything, we were kids. And I suppose that's what the thing is talking about, since I haven't killed anybody. Not on purpose. Not for a very long time. Since that was the only real time it happened.
Persuasion check.
Sure. Julius is being honest.
Yeah, it's not about honesty. It is.
Yeah. Is that... Okay.
They are still not looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
But they do kind of nod.
I don't want you to think that killing people is right just because it saved my life.
There's a time and a place for it.
Still. It's a rough thing to put on a 16-year-old. Life was not kind to me. Do you think less of me for it? I don't blame you if you do.
If you're telling me the truth, then no.
DM, I haven't actually killed anybody in the crime syndicate, have I?
No.
Yeah, okay.
But
there might have been ones that have happened because of our syndicate, yes.
yes, but the statement is from them of like, you get the vibe of like, I am choosing to assume you are being honest with me.
Yeah, yeah.
But of the vibe of like, if I find out otherwise,
yeah. Yeah. God damn, why is he so loud? Julius is just gonna kind of be quiet for a moment, and then he'll speak up and say, I hope there's a day where, I can earn your trust a little more. And I think this might be a good place to start, at least. And I hope there's nothing that makes you question it in the future. I'd like to be your friend.
I would like that too. You do have to realize what the last 4 days or so have been like for me, though.
I'm sorry. If there would have been a different way to do this, I would have. If I could have just went in there and taken your hand, walked through the temple, and just been able to properly introduce myself, that would have been wonderful, but unfortunately that wasn't the circumstances I could do. I am so sorry.
No, sorry, no, sorry. I understand. Sorry.
It's alright. I'm sorry. I was also a little...
They shake their head and they're just like, it's not you, it's... Never mind.
Julius will kind of just... He'll be quiet for a moment and just kind of like... He does that like attention thing with like... Where he kind of like bends a little bit, to like show that he's paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Just and I forgot what he was gonna say, but that's fine.
They just kind of shake their head. They seem like they're kind of distressed about something else. You just hear them under their breath. I was doing so good. I was doing so good with it. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Just...
I just want you to know that you don't have to put up a face for us. We're not the type of people that will judge you for it. But if it doesn't make you feel comfortable to you don't have to either. You can take your time with this. I promise that won't make us angry. It's a lot to adjust to.
I nod. That's a presentable way to be, and I'm sorry I haven't been managing it.
Julius desperately wants to laugh, but he is not going to, because that would be rude. And also probably make them feel like crap, because he doesn't mean it that way. But he just kind of like does that wobbly smile again, and then just if you'd like to be presentable, that's fine, but just know that a lot of us aren't that way here. Not that you need to be like us or anything. But we're not—
I mean, I am supposed to take over a major temple and political position. Not that you're not important. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just saying. In a way, wasn't necessarily like that in private either. He like whispers it like a secret.
Yeah, they look at you a little scandalized.
He just grins at them.
They do look like a little scandalized.
He gives just like a slight chuckle.
They do kind of go pink around the ears a little bit, I think.
Yeah. There's nobody who can be quite as composed all the time.
The public face of it's important. It's what Mr. Walsh says.
It can be, but that's when you're in public.
Isn't this public?
Julius looks around himself. Is there a lot of people here, or is it just everybody who's been traveling with us?
I mean, like, it's a not insubstantial campsite, so there are a couple of other families around, but like in that very like, all right, this is our 10 by 10, like this is our 20-foot square, this is your 20-foot, like.
Yeah. Julius kind of like looks around a little bit, like he makes a show of looking around, and he's like, are we talking to anybody who's not ourselves?
I mean, you're a whole person.
I mean, do you consider me a public person or a friend?
Is there much of a difference?
I like to think there is. You wouldn't talk the same way to a friend as you would a stranger.
They shrug.
Okay, I need to let my boy out. He is clawing at my couch. Hold on. Stop! Stop it!
We can hear him.
Knock it off!
Heard his sad little meows.
God, he's interrupting the moment.
Lance has such cute little baby meows. I love him so much.
Little
His
bastard
little baby
man.
voice.
He's just a little baby man. Ah, God.
Baby voice for a baby man.
Yeah. But
Okay.
Jill... Yep, go ahead.
Go for it. No, go for it.
I mean, I don't exactly remember what I was gonna say, so it's fine. Go for it.
Ophelia doesn't really have anything else to say, like, at this point.
Okay. Yeah, Julius just kind of shrugs a little bit, and he's just... Usually you can be a little informal with your friends at the very least. But that's what I've been taught. Why is that? Oh my god. But if there's nothing else that Othaniel wanted to talk about...
The rest of the watch pass is fine. Joe figured something out in PMs, by the way. Joe figured something out about Othaniel in PMs.
I remembered what they were apologizing for. And what they were mad about.
Morning comes. You all aren't really bothered. And you can get on into the next day of travel.
Characters, do we have a place that we're going?
Y'all know East?
Yeah.
That's it.
But along the road, I think we had plans of asking Inoue in message, right? I think.
But at this point, we have now lost our chance because
Yeah.
Walsh just got back.
Walsh fucker got here.
Let's send us something to Walsh. Like, yo, where that tapestry at?
Yeah.
Julius.
We could always ask in Rivetta to send along a message, maybe.
Julius, you know that there is a town about another day's travel from here.
Mm-hmm.
Relatively small, just kind of like a farming community. Might be your next like stop.
Mm-hmm. Julius will tell the party about that.
After that, the next major thing you'll hit is not actually a town, it is an intersection. It is where the eastern road splits into two. One that follows the coastline into across the border to Pelland, and one that still heads east but heads a little bit more north, staying within the Chalassian border by a good couple of days.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So God, this is probably not gonna help, but the geography of the, like, hillside that Julius had seen, is there any place that he can think of along those two roads that would, like, have
Yeah,
something
history
like that?
check.
Okay.
Give me a history check.
Okay, hold on. Please be good. Oh, fuck off! No! He's good at history, though.
So, I will give you this.
Okay.
The actual coastal road itself stays pretty tight to the southern coastline. You never traveled too far into Pelham? With your friend? But the coastal areas you remember tend to be a little flat.
So
as for kind of the Chalassian countryside and the part of Pelham that is not directly against the coast, you have no idea. It was a hill. There were a lot of those, mate.
He's gonna kind of like stop to think as we get to this intersection. Well, he's figured out that it probably not the coast, maybe. He's gonna kind of bring that up to the rest of the group. Did we lose somebody?
Amy is going to bed.
Okay.
Night, Amy. But he'll bring up that and then just say, I saw a hillside, but that was about all I could find.
I mean, if it was a burial mound, then there's a couple of things you need to actually be able to do a burial mound properly.
Well, I'm not sure if it was a burial mound or if it was just a hillside. Is there anybody who's would know the geography of this area? A little bit better than me, at least. I did some traveling, but not enough to know geography, I guess.
Aster, I would allow you to make a history check.
Thank you. I was about to go, would it be possible? Because I figure it's either me or Irene.
Yeah. I was like, Irene, maybe? She has stupid high history, too, I think. But she also hasn't left her area that much, has she?
Yeah, I don't want to not without.
Yeah.
Okay. Dirty 20.
Ooh.
Okay. So.
There we go.
With the description of a hillside, you can't, go, oh, that's specific, You're not getting that.
No.
The sort of logic is going from, okay, if it's a burial mound, which, from what Julia said before, that particular sect of proto-Lede worshippers? Well, Lede worshippers? But that particular sect of did bury at least some of their very relevant dead in this.
Yeah. So, Southern Chalas particularly does not have a tradition of burial mounds in, that way. There is a very old tradition of sort of tomb-like structures that end up being buried, which create kind of a pseudo-burial mound. Like, they build the tomb, right? They dig out a little area, they build the tomb, and then they cover it with earth.
Okay, yeah.
Which is based off of a ancient burial tradition in northern Japan. Very, very, very old.
Yes.
It is not a style of burial that has been practiced in very relevant history, but you do kind of remember it as part of your briefing when you were transferred into this area. There are a couple of things that you need. For one, you need to be relatively decently away from the coast in order to be able to dig down.
Yeah.
You also remember it was particularly a southern Chalassian thing. So the mountain ranges of northern Chalas, particularly the one that runs into the Periopan border, is probably not your best bet. So you don't want to go too far north. When when Julius brings up the intersection, you remember that intersection, and you would put good money on moving away from the coast.
Yeah.
You would also
It's just kind of grabbed a map and it has got a bit of charcoal and is sketching, sort of, as he's thinking this out.
So, and as you go up that road, it does intersect with a couple of smaller towns in the area.
Yeah.
Some of which do claim to date their history back pretty far.
Okay.
So while you cannot identify exactly where you need to ask,
can pin down a couple of options.
You are able to pin down a couple of smaller towns that have that kind of historical claim that might, particularly if Walsh has come through in the last bit of time, be able to point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think he's kind of got this map and has done, there's a couple of long strokes across the areas that are vetoed out, and he kind of taps the charcoal against the map for a second like he's thinking, and our best bet is probably, there's about a handful of towns that certainly claim to have the kind of history we'd need for this, and they're small enough that a knight traveling through with a retinue of guards would be well noticed.
Mm-hmm.
So they could probably point us in the direction we'd want to go.
All right.
They were on war horses, which means they aren't going to want to go through too rough terrain. Is that able to file anything else down with the knowledge that you don't want to take war horses across?
For one, it very much takes out the idea that at any point they recrossed the river, the main river that runs from the southern border, from the southern coast.
They would have only used bridges or fords, just out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Julius is nodding along as you're talking about stuff.
Yeah.
All right, well.
But that narrows us down to about a handful of towns at most. And if we ask about a group of soldiers with war horses passing through and possibly, they will likely have answers, because something like that is a massive drain on a small town's resources.
True.
War horses are horrific to feed and house.
And at the very least, he's wearing plenty fleshy armor.
So, and since he's working in at least theoretically official capacity, he probably still would have been wearing the colors of the day, so we could bring that up as something to ask.
Mm-hmm.
With the Dirty 20, actually, Aster, you remember at one point, Squeakers had mentioned the town of Ramamoto? Not out of any, relevance to you think anything to do with this, but out of, more to do with your business, type of business.
Okay.
You got something out of her. She doesn't talk a lot.
Yeah.
She just kind of vaguely mentioned at one point that Ranmamoto was interesting, but ultimately benign.
Yeah. Huh. One of my coworkers did tell me about Ranmamoto. Interesting but benign, so I don't know if that's what we're looking for, because he kind of taps where you know his holy symbol is on the medallion. That's this business, so I don't think it's related, but it might be worth possibly following up on.
Well, if we're in the area, we can always do that.
Yeah.
But I think
But there's about 4 towns that I think are most likely.
Well, which one is the closest?
That would be Okutama.
Okay.
Okutama.
Well, then we should head that way.
Yeah. I can start at Okutama and head our way through, and if nothing else, if they didn't stop at Okutama, they probably passed through. Tells us we're on the right way.
Mm-hmm. As long as we're heading in the right direction, I don't mind going a little bit out of the way if need be.
So the trip to Okutama is going to be the other reason that this sort of group of towns kind of caught your interest is because you do kind of know vaguely like a 2-week-ish journey, and
Yeah.
Okutama, particularly from Horatori, is about a week and a half.
Yeah. So, about a week and a half, and then possibly give it a couple of extra days into Whoop Whoop, and that'd do 2 weeks. I think he's kind of voicing that out loud as he's.
Or if you have to spend another day heading out to Hashitani or Shishu, or
Yeah.
and then from there into the countryside.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there it's about a day and a half to the others. So Okutama to start with, see what we can find.
Mm-hmm.
Because if nothing else, they'll probably give an, oh yeah, we're on our way to Hashitani or Shisu. I can't speak.
You're good. So I'm willing to kind of like zoom past about a week and a half of travel.
Mm-hmm. That'd be fun.
In terms of like mechanics. As you start to move, particularly once you hit the intersection, the crowds heading towards Horatori very much start to dissipate.
Yeah. Now, I do have one other concern, and that is that while Walsh and the messenger ran ahead, the rest of the guard he had with him did not. So we might intercept them.
Yeah. The day, about 2 days after you hit the intersection and turn right.
Oh, wait, quick thing. I was trying to say something, but I was muted and I forgot.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I muted no, it's okay. I
sorry.
muted myself because I was coughing. Yeah, I was gonna say, since we're fast forwarding a week, can I have looked in the forest for more herbalism related things so I can
Make another survival check.
Yeah.
Also, during the downtime, Julius is gonna kind of sneakily draw Inoue's face, just because, like, you know the reason why he's doing this, right, Parker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll type it in chat for a second so you guys can cry about it.
Not as good. 14?
So it takes you a while because you very much decide very early on to only stick with the stuff that you know for sure you can identify properly.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, whoops.
Yeah, and she probably mostly can identify things from her continent and not like.
Yeah, there's a lot of native plants you can't really identify. But there are a couple of things that you managed to pick up on that particularly Sunny taught you.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes you about a week to be able to gather enough that you think you might be able to make a pass at like making like a healing potion, maybe.
Okay, cool. I'll add that to my ingredients. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. I can make healing potions. I forgot. I'll do that another time.
As you all travel, Ophaniel, like, clearly does not know what they are doing, but seems more and more determined to be of actual use.
Mm-hmm.
And not just kind of a child sitting around.
Yeah. Julius will very much, like, continue that little, like, just the small little, like, tips and stuff like that so that they don't feel like they're fumbling.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to overwhelm them, so he's given them the little bits that he knows that would be useful.
Their habit of apologizing does keep up. And
yeah.
if I think it might be Alex that notices it first. Mostly because Ophaniel does kind of end up sticking next to Alex a lot.
He's dead.
Ophaniel. Alex, you are sitting with Ophaniel once in the cart, and they are sort of they have borrowed some of Julius's kind of art supplies and have been kind of practicing calligraphy. And at some point you get them talking about it. And when they speak to you, for the first time in a bit, you get through a bit of a conversation without an apology. And it is... They are excited, and they are trying to talk to you about calligraphy styles, which is not a thing that you know anything about.
Alex is listening intently. He's probably retaining about half of the information, but he is listening to all of it.
Mm-hmm. And as they talk with this kind of excitement, there is a moment where they trip. And not like physically, but well, you know, there's there and their face starts to shut down and they sorry.
You're good.
They breathe out and they start the sentence over again. And that's when it kind of clicks. They have a stutter.
Yeah, I feel that.
I love them. Scoops them up in my arms.
They have
I
a
just
stutter.
want them to be happy.
And it is only when they get caught on that TH, that their sound, and they stop, and that's when they apologize. And it almost seems to kill their enthusiasm a bit. Until you manage to coax them back into it.
Yes, Alex, it very much does.
But you watch them slowly over the course of a couple of days start to thaw out a little bit. There's one night where off to the south, just peeking out over the horizon, the edges of the southern aurora are just barely visible. It's a light phenomenon that occurs over the southern sea mostly. But sometimes it is big enough and bright enough that it can be seen from the southern part of this continent, and probably the other continent as well, though Naga, you've never been that far south.
Yeah, because that far south is Genasi territory.
Yeah, exactly. But you can just see the bits of green and blue light sort of edging over the horizon, just barely. And they seem enraptured by it, just like with the meteor shower.
Is this a phenomenon Julius has seen before?
You have seen it. It is not very common for it to be this big and this bright to be able to be seen from the continent. But you have seen it.
Oh, he is struck with the muse of like, man, if I had the time I'd paint that. Damn it. He just thinks about it.
I think Nagi is also a little enraptured because she had heard about it from her mom and her aunts and uncles, well, about their previous travels, but she'd never seen it, and she'd always imagined these fantastical things about it, and now she can finally see it for herself.
It is just the edges of it.
Yeah.
But what you can get, it must be absolutely incredible to be out on that water under those lights. There's another night, a couple of days after you hit the intersection, where you look up and all 3 moons are almost identical in the sky. Alex, particularly, you would know that there are a lot of people that associate an event like that with religious significance.
Do I do that?
You do not do that.
Okay.
But it seems like Ophaniel at least knows about that.
But Julius as well with his...
Make a religion check and Aster as well.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Nin, you too.
Me?
No,
Me?
Nin.
Jesus.
Aster, Nin, and Julius, please.
That was not a good roll
Yeah.
for Julius. Jesus. Even with his fucking +6, he still rolled a 5. Good to know his rolls are still the same even if I use the stupid...
Oh, Nin.
Oh, Nick!
Nope.
Well, that does
Pretty.
bookend very well,
Oh
because
my
Aster has got a nat 20 for 25.
god.
Yeah, Julius, you are very much in the Alex of some people think there's something about that. Aster, you know something like that is held in incredibly high religious esteem for people who particularly follow the goddess of space, Electra.
Yeah. He might, kind of explain that mostly to Nagi, but anyone else who wants to listen can kind of... But sort of, it's not something it's not something the shepherds worshippers ascribe particularly much to, but it's very important for the people who follow space. And there's some things about it can make certain rituals more potent, but not any of the ones I'm capable of because of my affiliation with the shepherd.
Ophaniel speaks up and there's a lot of associations with divination and augury and that sort of thing.
It's said that on nights like this you can get the clearest understanding or the most things available for interpretation.
things are in perfect alignment.
How does Julius thinking?
After
Actually,
this
Parker, I'm
night,
gonna PM you a question.
yeah.
Can
After
It's just about does something exist in the world?
um I doubt that this is Julius is just gonna do an interesting thing because he wants to see if anything will happen of it. He's not expecting anything. He's just gonna like he'll take a watch, but he's gonna because they talked about divination and stuff. He's just gonna like, all right, I'll meditate for a bit.
yeah.
He's not expecting anything to happen.
And there isn't anything you get that night, Julius, but it is nice
Yeah.
to sit with it.
Hell yeah.
After that, a lot of the astrological events kind of peter off. It's not uncommon for such things to happen, particularly around the start of like the changing of a season. And as the night of the aurora was technically the first day of summer.
Nice.
It is not completely wild that this was the timing. The first night of summer, I think there's a moment where Othaniel kind of sequesters themselves off in prayer. Summer is very I'm just going to give you this all straight up. Summer is very much associated, and the harvest is very much associated with Lede.
Yeah.
And similarly, a lot of gods of her order. So they kind of sequester themselves off for like an hour, and it's like, that's their religious shit. Okay, leave them.
They are
leave
welcome
them.
to it.
Yeah.
Julius does the tame version of that. He just keeps himself quiet for a bit. Just yeah.
Like Othaniel's like full meditation, full like straight up, like
yeah. Julius is just vibing.
yeah.
Julius is just like, hey, Lede, and that's it.
He just peace signs to Lede. That's what he does.
It's me, your boy.
On the night before we arrived, no, 2 nights before we arrived to town, Nagi would ask Othaniel if they'd like to watch with her, and she could explain, so that she could explain how what she's learned from watching her parents travel and doing adventures and things like that. In case she wants to help them with combat strategy.
They will happily sit and listen. You start talking about like combat, and they're like, I've been trained in how to use a mace.
Well, first she'll say, well, so we are going to go to this mound, I think it is, and we don't know. There might be nothing in there, but we could also run into something. And I know you've been wanting to help pull your weight around, and I don't want you to feel like, in case you run out of your magics, that you have to put yourself directly in harm's way if you don't want to. And then she'll go on to explain certain things, like positioning and waiting for the right opportunity when someone has an enemy or creature distracted, or but she will also emphasize that she personally does not kill people. She has yet to like murder a person, so she's like, uh I tend to hold back when it comes to people because it I don't know, even if they're trying to hurt me, it doesn't feel right doing that to them because that kind of removes their potential, and that they might continue to be criminals or do bad things, but they also might not. They could go on to have a family or change the world in ways we couldn't know. And I like to personally, I don't feel like it's my place whether or not I take someone's life.
They kind of listen to you say that. And they nod and they're like, well, I mean, I'm not looking forward to it, but Mr. Walsh does say that sometimes you just have to do what you have to do.
He nods and says, yes, that's right. Thankfully, I have the option of dealing with people in ways that are less than lethal, but not everyone does. For example, magic is harder to control than, a stick, and she points to her staff.
They nod.
It's not, and I don't blame anyone for, doing what they have to in the heat of combat. It's about survival then, and again, they are trying to hurt us, and it's just my own personal view. And I know what none of us relish in taking of lives. I don't think I could travel with anyone who did. I want to keep from crossing that line for as long as possible.
There's something in that there you say that you very much get the sense that they are kind of taking it and turning it over in their head.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a sense, particularly those of you with higher insight. Ophaniel seems to be taking in some things that you are all saying, or like they see you all do. And it is almost like they are running comparisons to something in their head.
I couldn't get what from an insight check, right?
No.
Okay.
That's a little bit more
Yeah,
into
that's
like
like
mind
mind
reading.
reading. Yeah,
But like
yeah.
the very much sense like they are observing. And
Parker, not only is Nagi the Avatar, but she's also a Jedi. I'm kidding.
right, yeah. Canon.
um, Towards the end of the conversation, Nagi will say, oh, right, I wanted to give you this. And she'll pull out the 2d4 plus 4 healing potion she made and say, this is for... I know you have your own powerful magic, but in case you run out and you're hurt and we can't get to you, or someone else is hurt and everyone is distracted with whatever is going on, this might come in handy and help someone. And she'll hand them the potion. This one has a bit more of a kick to it than your average potion.
They nod and they're very much like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's just about the time for everyone else to start getting up. Yeah.
They are a little bit fascinated that morning. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Mhm.
I thought you had
No,
finished
it's
your
fine.
sentence.
No, it's fine. She was just gonna get up to, she's just gonna say, it was nice chatting. It was nice having this talk, and then she'll get up and start doing her morning thing.
Mm-hmm. They are absolutely fucking fascinated when you start doing martial arts bullshit.
Yeah.
They're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, she combines it a bit with bending too. Like, yeah.
The morning you all hit Okatama, not Okatama, yeah, Okatama, sorry. It's raining. It starts raining in the morning and does not let up. It's not a storm, but it is a driving rain. That very, very quickly pushes you through the outskirts of this sort of small farming village and deeper inside to the main street. It's not a very big town at all. And you all duck inside the one sort of tavern inn that they seem to have. Still kind of soaking wet a little bit, except for Nagi, I think, who can probably kind of
Just bend the water around her, yeah.
yeah. The rest of you are kind of unfortunately wet.
She will create and destroy water on them after they get into the inn.
Granny also has prestidigitation. I'm not going to speak for PK, but I think PK
I
Granny
think
would obviously help her.
Start, yeah.
We get under shelter and there's just immediately.
Julius shakes his wet hair like a dog.
The tavern itself is small and kind of cozy. You are able to get a suitable amount of rooms for the night. It seems like there's an older married couple that runs it.
Oh god, do we have enough money for...
I mean, I still have some gold. I'm not like flush.
Okay,
I have
good,
20 gold.
Julius has 7 silver. That is all he's got.
Alex has like 100 gold. What did you guys spend it on?
It was the pendant.
The amulet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amulet of proof against whatever the hell it's called.
It's silvers for you all, and it's a very nice, like, older halfling couple.
Nice.
And as you are all finished, as you are arranging for this, the older gentleman is like, you'll have to give us an hour or two. We just cleared out all the rooms from another group. You know.
Oh yeah, no, of course, no rush.
Was it something interesting?
Someone from the big city, from town. Group from the temple, I think. They weren't super forthcoming, but respectable enough.
Interesting. Do you happen to know where they were coming from?
Just further up the road.
Right.
Hopefully they
Makes
tipped
sense.
well.
He smiles at you in that customer service. I'm not going to talk shit about other customers way.
Yeah, yeah. And Nagi thinks to herself, I gotta leave a better tip. Nagi thinks to herself, oh god, I gotta leave a better tip for these poor people.
Roughly how many silvers is it?
For one night, for the lot of you, y'all be able to get enough rooms for like 5 silver.
I'll cover that.
Okay.
Yeah. And Astra is going to make sure to leave
And
a.
Leave a nice tip, yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna leave at least a 5 silver tip, if not a gold.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also what Nagi does is she does hand over a gold and asks them to keep the change.
You give this to the older woman because the older woman seems to be the one running the actual tavern. It seems like the husband runs the inn, the wife runs the tavern.
Yeah.
And she's very like, thank you, dear. That's so sweet of you. To both of you, very similar sentiments.
Yeah.
Your rooms do come
a little bit. We're having a bit of a bad time, so I wanted to make sure we.
Oh no, not a bad time. Just room turnover. You know, we don't get a lot, and then to have all of them taken up at one time is a little.
That's fair.
It's not hard. It's not bad. It's not a complaint. It's just we're not used to it here, you know.
That's understandable. I mostly just wanted a tip to make up for those guys. And she grins at the old lady.
And she just was my husband running. My husband is always such the gossiper. And she sort of like old lady fusses.
From behind Nagi, Julius just gives a slight laugh and he says, "He's fine. We just wanted to give you a little extra for tracking in the water from today. We were on the road for quite a bit."
And I'm better at reading expressions than most. And so I kind of picked up a thing or two.
She is very appreciative. Your rooms also come with a great hot homemade meal.
Fuck
yes! Woo! We get
Yeah.
VIP treatment. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's very warm and cozy.
Julie's
Yeah.
very happy.
And you
So
all
just make sure to let her know that 2 of our party are vegetarian.
Yep. Easily done. She is happy to accommodate that. The morning is tea and a nice light breakfast. Eggs mostly.
Egg.
Othaniel is very polite to this couple.
No, that's good.
Like almost painfully so.
Yeah. Oh. Respect customer service workers or else.
It's less that they have a respect customer service workers and more I am neurodivergent, socially anxious, and overly formal.
Social script I have is
Yeah.
Actually, Parker, can I try bending the tea to practice for future water, like a water paint bending?
Oh my gosh.
Make me a wisdom check.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my boy's yelling. 1 second.
Oh, fuck yeah. Natural 18 plus, what's my modifier? 4. 22.
Alright, so you don't spill the tea everywhere.
Yeah.
It's hard to get into this thing that has Rogue and Miss B.
Rogue.
Boys?
Boys.
Oh, they are
hard.
lovely.
Let me see the boys.
It's hard to wrap my head around bending water that has contaminants, so to speak, right?
Yes. At least the first thing you do is you manage to kind of at first you're like, oh, this is easy, and then you realize the water you've lifted out is water that you have also unintentionally purified of the tea.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, she quickly
No.
lets go of the bending to let it reabsorb the tea essence, and then tries again.
And with the actual essence, you don't get much. You get it mostly to kind of sort of swirl
Rise a bit, right?
the cup
Or
and
swirl.
like rise a little bit, but like it's kind of there. Like you kind of are in the vibe of like, okay, I kind of know what this is gonna be. It's just gonna be a lot.
Yeah. As soon as she does that, she looks around at everyone excited, like Pog emoji. And because everyone just thinks they've seen her bend water before, they probably just think this is just her. Like they probably think this is just normal. But she's like, I did it! I did the thing! Ah!
Would Julius like would this be something Julius would like because he's had experience with Aki?
So Aki never really messed around with water in the same thing Aki does.
Yeah.
Aki was much more about the earth and particularly much more about earth and air.
Yep.
That seemed to be where their affinities lied.
Yep. Okay. I was just curious if that would have been something Julius would have been like, I know why that would be a feat. But
Talking vital bending moments. Sorry.
Nagi, as you do this, and particularly as you get a nice little like gloop of it like kind of rising and then splashing back down into the cup, you hear just in the faintest bit, sort of in the back of your mind, just a hint of of laughter, as though like the gentle laughter of like an older woman.
Wait, do I recognize this laughter?
Nope.
Oh, Nagi looks like through a sending or a message cantrip or what? Like that kind
Nope.
of vibe, right?
Nope.
A memory?
It feels warm.
Oh, okay. At first, Nagi's alarmed, then she feels a little calms down and is happy with the laughter and is still, and then just goes back to drinking the tea instead of playing with it.
Julius would request if they had any honey. Otherwise, he's just gonna drink his tea without anything in it. Mans doesn't just like sugar, he likes honey specifically.
Y'all can get some honey.
Yeah!
Othaniel takes their tea straight.
Yeah, so does Nagi.
Julius likes just a little bit of honey in his.
Mm-hmm.
He's got so much honey in there.
She's
making up for the rest of you.
Julius looks so offended. That's just sugar water at this point.
Yeah.
I think Asta puts somewhere sort of between Julius, the amount Julius does and the amount Min does.
Sweet tooth, the lot of you.
She just beams.
I need sugar. He gives you a shitheaded little grin for that.
Maybe that's why you're so youthful. It's all the sugar you eat. Not that that's a bad thing. I think you should enjoy your tea however you like it.
Also, that old lady must have been like, why are these two young kids paying so much?
Yeah, but she was also a little bit like, I'm not gonna question it.
We're teaching them the values of, you know, money and currency, so we're letting them hold on to the money.
Your goddamn service workers.
Yeah.
Did I not set this? Oh, it is on repeat.
You can.
So, the morning, Okutama, again, is a very small town. Probably no more than even 100 people. A small sort of general store. But you kind of get the vibe that it's not really like anybody buys anything around here. Well, Julie owns chickens, and Julie has a bunch of eggs, and well, Julie needs some like.
Yeah, classic barter.
Yeah. Very, very tight-knit community. And as such, between that and your vague appearances, y'all do stick out like a bit of a sore thumb.
Yes!
And you get the sense that this small country town, which was going to talk about the temple people for about the next week, now has another week of gossip on top of that.
Excellent.
But Asta does want to see if... go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Julius probably would have changed himself before he went in there, because he's seen having been in this area, they're gonna know. Oh.
You only have an hour of disguise, right?
Yeah, but he has plenty of spell slots to do that with. He can do.
This is a random little town. Like,
yeah, but also the other people were through here before. He doesn't want to have a way that they can be tracked necessarily if, God forbid, Walsh comes through and is like, I'm sure they're going after the fucking thing. Like, I don't know.
if you want to disguise yourself, you can disguise yourself. I thought you were more like, I don't want them to recognize me from my travels with my friend, and I'm like, why?
No. He's mostly doing it so that Walsh can't exactly tell that they've been here, because if Julius is seen with them, then that's probably tip off. He's willing to spend at least 3 slots on that, if need be. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt stuff.
No, you're good. With the information that the temple people did seem to come up the road, likely they came from Shisu, instead of heading off the road to sorry, wait, no, screw that up. Sorry, I'm looking for my notes.
You're good.
Take whatever time you need. I think the next one is
Hashitanai.
Tonai?
Yeah, Hashitanai. Yeah, because Shishu is a little bit closer towards the river, rather than directly up the road. And then Ramamoto, Ramamoto is also up the road, but like another couple days out shot that direction. And it takes you about another day to get to Hashitanai. This is a much bigger town. Not like a big city. Not even as big as like Joxanum was. But definitely not as small as the last town.
Quick thing, because we were staying the night there anyway. At some point in the after breakfast, Nagi would have gone out and asked around to see if her mother had been through here.
Make an investigation check.
I'm so good at those. Oh, holy! 1 second. I'm gonna post that in chat. 1 second.
I have a video of Boy chewing.
Boy.
Send Boy.
Come on, unload Discord. So I know I said I'm really good at these sarcastically. However,
good roll for
that
Nagi?
natural did 20.
Ooh.
Natural 20. That means I can tell you are damn fucking sure these people do not know who you are talking about.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
You get the vibe that if someone you describe, like an outsider like that, any outsider is like noted down in the collective like town memory.
It's a very small town.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah. So you are dead fucking certain these people have never seen your mother.
Okay.
Hasutanai is a bit bigger. Probably in the couple thousand people range, but probably not much more than that. The thing that strikes you instantly upon walking into Hashitanai, though, is even like Irene would super know this as someone who has studied history, but even those of you who are unfamiliar with the depth of the history of this country, and particularly the history of architecture, y'all know these buildings look old.
Oh, dang. Okay.
These buildings are, a lot of the buildings here, particularly in main town, the style of it is distinct from anything you've seen so far.
The values.
Yeah, instead of a lot of, like... So, like, Horitari was largely wood, metal, and glass. With some places like the temple and the castle having an old sort of like clay plaster style with it. This is almost entirely wood and plaster. Wood and mud sort of building. Irene, I know PK isn't here, but just as a note so that you all kind of understand, Irene would like look around and be instantly captured with like, these are beautiful, beautiful examples of ancient architectural craft work. Like, y'all seen those videos on Tumblr of like Asian wood connecting techniques? That kind of stuff.
Oh, that slaps.
Yeah, Hashitanai. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of the plaster. It's a lot of the clay plaster. In that, like, these are old buildings that have been maintained from when they were built, probably hundreds of years ago.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
And they seem well in use. One of them, you notice, is old but well cared for, and you see what looks like probably the family that lives inside of it, with a small pet dog. The kids and the dog kind of running around on the lawn outside the building. Lots of old shops. One of the other things that you can kind of realize is a difference in architecture. There's less glass. There's a lot less glass in like the windows. It's much more open window style. Maybe like some slats or some fabric, but no real glass work.
Does kind of make sense.
Which again dates these buildings like crazy. And then the town is sort of built on the slope of a very gentle hill. So the entrance of the town that you are on starts at the bottom of the hill, and as you walk into town, you sort of are up this gentle incline, and at the top of which looks like what must be the remnants of maybe an old fort, an old watchtower, or something. That seems to have been retrofitted into town hall. There is one inn of much more recent build than some of the buildings here, but still pretty old. And as you walk inside, you can like, it's not that it smells bad, but like old wood that's been through a lot of shit. You are able to secure rooms for another 5 silver for the night.
Woohoo.
Okay. I can cover that.
But there is no instant indication of the presence of Walsh and his party in the same that there was at Okutama. You might have to ask around.
Sure.
Yeah.
If that is what you would like to do, I will require investigation checks.
Yes. I would like to do an investigation.
How many can be rolled?
I'll let the party roll investigation.
That's a 22
sure.
for Julius. Julius always does so fucking well with investigation. I don't understand.
I don't mean to brag, but I got a 0.
Oh, Nagi!
Nagi.
Oh, I love her so much. She's so dear to me.
He comes back with mochi and that's it.
Yes. God, I want mochi now. I haven't.
I forgot for a second that mochi was ice cream, and I still thought you just meant she comes back with Ren's cat.
Mochi's not ice cream.
Well, there is mochi
Burger.
ice cream, but there's also like
I know
mochi.
it's not ice cream. But like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot that it was
sweet.
a dessert.
Mhm.
Yeah. I come
God.
back with Ren's cat.
Now, do you know how desperate I want to try like temple mochi, like the shit that they grill on like the fire? Oh, I want to try it so bad. It looks
Nagi
so
just comes
good.
back like, I found a friend, and Mochi scratching her, and then
Biting her, chomping
Just
violence.
stole someone's cat.
You are bleeding from the face.
yeah.
He's taken a chunk
No.
out of your arm.
No, she just comes back eating some mochi.
Yeah. Like, oh, right, I was supposed to be asking for things. With that general party check, particularly Julius, you start asking around, and pretty quickly it's like, yep, they were through here. Yet someone is very much like, if you were looking to catch up with them, you just missed them. They were out here 2 days ago. Sorry.
That's alright, I was just curious where they were. If you happen to know where they came from, that would help even more.
This is the shopkeeper of like one of the general stores. And he kind of jerks his thumb out the window. He's in one of these very old buildings, so there's no glass, it's just the wind coming through.
Mm-hmm.
He jerks his thumb out in that direction and went, they set up camp about 30 minutes that way.
What is 30 minutes that way, Parker?
You look out the window, looks like open plains.
Right.
He goes, they seem to like sort of, they didn't want to stay in town for some fucking reason. Whatever. They seem to mostly keep a lot of people there and then would send a couple of people even further out east, on and off.
Alright. I suppose it was a little cheaper for them doing that.
Yeah, but I don't think money was their concern. They looked, and he makes a sign with his hand that's like, they looked loaded.
Yeah.
Particularly if the gentleman leaders, he says with a little bit of like a in his voice.
No.
Armor was anything to go by.
I just hope they haven't given you too much trouble at the very least.
They didn't party, they didn't break shit, which is more than I can say for some people that come out to vacation here.
Nobody respects the good architecture.
They really fucking don't, and it seems like you are stepping into like, this man is about to go off for 2 hours unless you stop him.
Parker, Julius built his house. He understands, so he will talk with this man for a while about the fucking architecture and shit.
This man starts going off about architectural history and like, nobody fucking respects the goddamn history we have in this goddamn town. Like,
he will listen to this man's woes.
We were here before the country was, okay, kid? Like,
yeah. Oh. These are the people Julius fucking respects, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Julius respects these people. He's like, yeah.
The rest of you, like, you kind of get, like, similar information of, like, yeah, they were in town, but not specifically, like, nobody else seemed to really know what was up with them. Or where they were staying, just that they came in for supplies every once in a while. You all do get the vibe of we are fucking proud of our bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Nagi, who has just been eating snacks the whole time.
Yeah.
Every time she
I'll
goes
be right
out,
back
she
in a
comes
second.
back with a different snack.
Yeah.
Julius would ask you to get some mochi for him too.
They're like, I was about to say something for Aster, but Aster just BRB'd. But like, you all get the vibe that they are proud of their history, maybe a little bit too much.
It's the one thing they've got going.
It's the one thing they've got.
Yeah, they're like, we have the cool. It's like in Minnesota here, in fucking St. Cloud. The one thing that we're like, our riverside homes. Like, we've got the Mississippi right here.
I am back.
Welcome back.
Nice. Aster, you do notice that the town has an extensive graveyard.
Yeah.
Just huge. As you look over it, there are gravestones, the most recent of which are a couple hundred years old.
Ooh, historical graveyard.
There's a second, much newer graveyard.
Yeah.
On the other side of town, but this initial one is old. There are tombstone styles here you have not seen outside of like your history textbooks when you still were in high school, like DPC high school. Like there's a building or two amongst it that you recognize as a very old style mausoleum.
Yeah.
Probably that probably house the remains of dozens of family members. Some of the oldest, like, it seems well cared for, but even then, in some places, the age has just worn some of it away.
Yeah. Because time is not always kind to stone.
No matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
And it's not like a full death temple here, but there is a temple that seems to be a multi-function.
Yeah.
That also handles funerals and the like. The guy you're talking to, Julius, would tell you that they were here for like a month.
Oh. So, in this area, then, probably.
Probably.
Right. That solves what I was thinking.
The vibe you get is that they had, like, an HQ, like, somewhat close enough to town to be able to get supply, but be separate.
Mm-hmm.
And then seemingly sent people off.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, further east.
Okay.
And it is really not that hard to find where they were camping. Not because
camp like that settles in.
Yeah, like not because that they overtly like destroyed anything, like they weren't like being that kind of dickbags, but just like
you can see the well-worn area where like tents were up and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
if you camp in the same place for a month, it needs about that to recover.
Yeah, they didn't hurt anything like overly more than like just the natural wear of people that lived there for a month.
Yeah.
But it seems like it was a pretty decently sized campsite. Anyone who wants to like know more about it specifically, either make me a survival or an investigation.
Julius wants to investigate again. Oops, that was insight, not investigation. Hold on. Actually, I'll keep the roll. It's just, it would be a 12, I think, technically. Yeah.
14 for
Nagi's still
survival.
snacking.
14 survival.
Okay. What was that, Nagi?
Oh, Nagi's still snacking.
Ah, fair.
There's some cool rocks around here.
There are some neat rocks, Nin.
You think you see a frog?
Julius and Aster, you can't get specific numbers or anything, but you can kind of tell they had 2 or 3 fire pits.
Yeah.
They definitely had a dedicated bathroom area off to the side about that direction. You can tell though where a lot of the tents must have been set up, and then you can see slightly separated out what must have been a slightly larger tent. Not fully detached, but slightly separated out. With one of the fire pits relatively close by.
Okay.
It does seem like Walsh came with a considerable number.
Yeah.
Probably no more than a dozen, but it wasn't a small party.
Yeah.
You can also see where very clearly the horses were mostly kept. You can see dug into the ground. The horse, they must have dug in stakes to tie horses to. The stakes are now gone, but you can see where in the ground they must have been dug in.
Alright.
Okay. So apparently we want to continue some more ways east.
Considering they'd been sending people out that direction, I'd say so.
As you look east, you realize that this area is relatively free of trees. At least, it's not heavily forested. You're not about to walk into woods. There is still tree cover, and there is still sort of open vegetation, but it's largely open hills.
Don't ask for a clarifying question.
Go for it.
Did the guardsmen leave back through? Because we know that Walsh would have left through. It was left with. Actually, no. At this point, so have the rest of the retinue also left at this point?
Yes, it seems like everybody's gone.
They left about 2 days ago. Okay, but I wanted to just verify that for sake of.
The vibe you can get is that the leader individual. First thing you notice, nobody seems to know exactly who Wolf was.
Oh yeah.
He's sort of the leader gentleman. It seems like he had somebody else kind of generally engage with town. The leader gentleman and the first group of people left a bit ago, in such a way that they were very clearly, Walsh was very clearly met on the road by the messenger. But a smaller party was left behind initially to clean up, settle debts.
Okay, makes sense.
Kind of manage the goodbye, so that just you all could figure out so Walsh could make it back in town by the time of the festival.
I'm just glad they weren't fucking dicks about this. Thank God.
Yeah, the vibe you get is they were aloof and not overly friendly, but they weren't assholes.
Yeah. I mean, that would make sense considering it was an expedition of the church, or the temple, so they wouldn't want to damage the reputation.
People before.
Yeah.
They weren't buddies, but they weren't assholes.
Yeah.
Huh?
Nagi comes back with an armful of snacks and a taiyaki in her mouth. I subtracted a gold, by the way, and added a few.
Fair.
Yeah. Yeah, and she goes, you guys find anything? Got your mochi.
Yes. Thank you. So craving this. Nom.
Is
By the
this?
time,
Ashley's just got a bit of a. Is this the kind of town that sees a waif of a child and goes, we must give you more food?
perhaps.
Not in a bad way, just in a.
Feed the child.
You must find a lot of different places to sell you food.
Y'all managed to get into town into the afternoon, and this investigation and the solidifying of all this information took you until the next morning. And so it is about noon. When you all finally have the opportunity to head out into the hills.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like somebody, perhaps two somebodies, to make me a survival check
I can make one.
in order
Make
to
one
attempt
also.
to. All right, in order to attempt to follow and figure out where the fuck these people were going.
Okay. I believe in
That's
you
a-
guys.
So Nagi's making one of them.
Yeah, and so is Alex. I got an 18
Okay.
also.
I was gonna
All
say
right.
if people can guide them, but it's fine.
Between two 18s, it seems like there were at first multiple attempts to head out in different directions. Like, vaguely east, but sort of scanning the area, doing a larger survey.
Yeah.
But then you notice one of the trails that was sort of taken seemed to be a little bit more well-worn than the others. And a little bit more recently used. And so that is the one you choose to stick with. It is about a 3-hour walk from that campsite. Over hills, through patches of trees and vegetation. At one point, you have to cross a small creek. Though it seems like somebody had broken a set of branches of trees on either side of the creek, as if to indicate probably the best spot to cross.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a bit of a trek, and your horses cannot make this trek.
Mm-hmm.
Part of your silver costs was stabling them.
Yeah. If we're expecting this to maybe take a couple of days, I think Asta might pay a little bit extra to stable them for the couple of days, but don't worry about holding the rooms for us.
Mm-hmm. Take off another 3 silver. The area is beautiful, by the way. I would just like to point out.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous, mostly untouched rolling hills. That as you walk past it, there is the sound of bird call. At one point, y'all see like a deer, like a deer with a couple of babies, sort of that spot you, spook, and run away.
Yeah.
It is hot. It's kind of a nightmare in that sense, but it's also not blistering. You're sweating pretty good. Like, this is a walk. Less of a walk, more of a hike. at some point, I think Granny does need to be picked up by Alex.
Yeah, that's fair. She will be carried.
Scooped.
Just because of hills. So many hills.
Mm-hmm. The bones.
The bones. And then you all break from a section of trees into a clearing. That, in the center of which, rises a very oddly shaped hill. In that the sides are surprisingly steep, but then it plateaus on the top. And this is also where the tracks end.
That looks suspicious.
There is vegetation covering up and over the top that sort of masks some of this odd shape. But you are all looking for a weird hill. And this is a weird hill.
Well, let's go take a look at the weird hill. That's a weird hill. I think we should go look at it.
That is a weird hill.
Okay.
Should I do the... And she mimics earthbending.
Let's take a look and see if they've done anything to it first. And then you can do your earth magic-y stuff.
Presumably they wouldn't have recovered the entrance, because there's no point to that.
You would give him a look like, magic? I don't do magic.
I don't think Julius knows the name for key yet, unless she's told us.
No, she has not.
He just makes he purposely does a bad mimic of the bending moves.
Oh, the form's all wrong. She
He
just
just
shakes her head and we'll
just
start looking
smirks.
around.
He just smirks.
I want 2 investigation checks from somebody.
Oh, then I will not look around.
Julius will do an investigation.
That decent investigation.
Oh, come on, Julius, roll better than that. Whatever, it's fine. There we go.
Sarah.
Good job.
Okay, I had offered to do one, but
Sarah hasn't,
forget
well,
Julius.
Sarah hasn't gotten to roll really, but
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Julius.
Sorry, I didn't hear you, Joe.
You're good.
It's okay.
Hey,
Hello?
Hey, PK.
PK.
Hello.
You found a weird hill.
You have caught us right at the very end of session. I am sorry.
That's okay. I did not expect to even be back for the very end of session, so I'm just here.
Julius, you are stuck in your head about the vision that you received. And so you're trying to kind of look for like, okay, what was the angle of it? What can I, that you are stuck more in your head, and Nin, who you are pretty good at navigating, not necessarily this plane's wildlife, and fauna, but you do know how to look for shit in plants. Your mom sent you out scavenging for things more often than you can remember. And so it's a little weird when you notice that there is a bush that isn't really in the ground. Like it's like it's been hastily transplanted.
This looks kinda fake.
And you kind of grab it, and you kind of it comes out of the ground so easily. The root system not really in place, almost just under maybe a couple centimeters of dirt. And then you notice the fern next to it is also very similarly shallowly planted. And as you go to move that one, the dirt shifts and moves, and you're not touching dirt anymore. that feels like stone.
Hey guys. I think I found a hole.
Oh, nice.
Did you find something?
Well done.
Goes
And
from dirt to stone, so that's gotta be something.
clearing away the dirt that Nin has pointed out, very quickly you uncover a stone, and carved stone at that, like a stone sort of slab almost. That as you push more and more dirt away from it, it is sort of pressed into the side of this hill at an angle. Not quite fully sat up, but also not fully flat on the ground either. And then as you push it away, you find the edges of where the stone slab is. Where it has seemingly been put into the earth. It looks heavy though.
Julius looks at Nagi.
Yeah, sure. Can I? So I know Mold Earth says I can bend like shape stone out of the way, like and stuff. Not like shape stone, but like you know. So do I know if it would work on a work stone, like a door?
You can try it.
Yeah, I'll try and Mold Earth the door.
Can we check just before Nagi does that though, if there's any like written stuff on it, or if it's just a fucking smooth door
It's
thing?
as you look at it, I'll give you this for free. It looks fairly worn by time, but up towards the top of it, you realize there is something kind of shaped into it, and you kind of reach up and run your hands over it to kind of clear some more of the dirt, and you realize what must have once been carved into the slab that has since like been kind of worn away by time is a shape eerily familiar to the pendant you found on the skeleton that put you down this path in the first place.
And he's got that pendant on him right now, and he's a little bit. He like, I think he technically had it around his neck. I think because it was on a So he like pulls it out and like compares it a little bit. Well,
as you do so, it is worn, and so the details aren't all there, but it is the right sort of shapes.
Well, I think we found it.
Alright.
He'll tuck the pendant away.
Nagi, if you can't get it up, Alex and I might be able to brute force it.
Yeah, I'm going to try and bend a tunnel through it.
You reach out with your hand and you slide your foot forward. And you sort of reach with your key out into the earth the way that you know how to do. And you feel it sort of into the stone slab, and you pull. And it doesn't fly towards you.
Oh!
But it shifts and it sort of comes up out of the hole and sort of turns and land like on the bottom of it, and sort of falls and hits the ground with a hard thump.
She looks surprised, like she did not expect all of that to happen, and looks back at everyone wide-eyed.
Good job, Nagi.
Congratulations. Well done.
Revealed behind the slab is what looks like a steep passageway down into the earth that is dark. It smells damp and dusty, but inside you can see the starts of the carved stone pathway. and that is where we're gonna end session.
Woo!
Okay.
We found it!
We found it.
We fucking did it!
PogChamp,
Yeah.
as some might
Oh,
say if they
yeah.
were not Enjira characters.
Yeah.
What have they been doing there for a month?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Mm,
I'd love to, actually.
yeah,
I
what
need
the
to
fuck?
search every fucking hill.
They were actually just doing a little carnival for the locals.
Yeah, definitely.
Quick question, Parker. Could I tell how recently the plants were placed there, or would I have needed a higher roll for that?
With a 19, I'll give it to you relatively recently.
Like in the last week, maybe?
Maybe 2 weeks.
Okay.
Very much the vibe of, okay, we're just gonna quick put a little bit of dirt over it and some plants.
That looks natural, right?
Which is hilarious, the idea of, like, Othaniel coming here, and those plants are just fucking dead. Like,
yeah,
Like someone failed their survival check.
someone really failed their survival check.
shrubbery over it.
Man.
To be fair, it was more kind of like, okay, just kind of do that so that, like, you know, maybe nobody will spot it and nobody will, like, hurt themselves, like, try to open this thing and go get themselves hurt. Like,
Yeah, but also the incredibly funny idea of if things had gone as Walsh had planned and Othaniel had ended up here, there's just dead shrubs.
Just dead shrubs.
Guys, gamers, can I ask where we are and what happened?
Yes.
You are about 3
Someone else
hours-
needs to give you recaps. I need to dip. Love you guys.
Bye bye.
You are about 3 hours east of a town called. Hold on.
Hashitanari?
Hashitanari, yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Hashitanari, which is a town about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks out of Horitari to the east.
Mm-hmm. We originally traveled to Okatama, which was a smaller villagey area where we got information that Walsh was heading, Walsh's retinue had stayed at that inn that we stayed at. So we basically followed down the road to Hashitanari, or Tunari, and figured out that they stayed about a month, in this place, and we're like, this must be where they were digging up shit. So they didn't stay in the town, but they stayed outside of it and made camp, and out in the vast fields, rolling hills area.
Land.
And apparently this place also has very old graves, right?
Yeah, very
like
old
hundreds
graves
of years.
and hundreds of year-old buildings. Irene, you would have been like, oh my god, the architecture, the historical architecture.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, I should stop recording. Goodbye, recording.